Hey guys, my name is Abhilasha and I'm your favorite VRC educator on An Academy. Guys, of course, we've been doing a lot of sessions this month where we have been discussing various topics for CET Maharashtra, and within that series, of course, today I'll be discussing the various tones in reading comprehension. But before I begin, remember, let me remind you to use AbhiCat Live. If you have not yet downloaded the Unacademy Plus Learners app, or if you have not yet subscribed to our Iconic or Plus courses. Alright guys, before I begin, let me quickly do my quick round of announcements. Our CAT Iconic one-to-one live mentorship program is available. You can speak with your mentor, clear your doubt, discuss your concepts and get mentored by graduates from top B schools. Simply have to use AbhiCat Live to unlock the Iconic courses. Here are some of our CAT 2020 results. My very own Piyush Prateek. Amazing results. Some new batches: 24th July, Accelerator 28th July, Revision Guide, and 31st July, our practice drill, guys. Our free campus placement IT jobs personal mock interview and group discussion session is an offer that is valid on Plus subscription till 4th of August. You're getting 360-degree support to crack TCS, Infosys, Cognizant, and other exams. There's a live project opportunity, A to Z technical skills, aptitude development, weekly mock tests, soft skills, and interview guidance. All of this happening live for you guys. Okay, we've got 55 lakh scholarship worth for you happening every Sunday at noon. So all you have to do is use AbhiCat Live to enroll for this scholarship. You can also use our QR code, guys. No worries on that. Use the QR code and just enroll with this and take your scholarship test on Sunday, and bingo, you're sorted. Remember to use AbhiCat Live also to enroll. That is the code for combat. Ask a Doubt is live, guys. So all you have to do is just go on to the Ask a Doubt feature on our app, take a picture of the question, crop it to highlight the specific question, and then select the correct subject and send it to us. We will help you answer the question as soon as possible. Guys, but if you haven't yet downloaded our Learners app, download the Plus Learners app and use AbhiCat Live to unlock all your free classes and all your doubt solving features. Okay guys, so let us get started with our topic for the day. So we've been talking about RC question types, and I had told you that RC tones is a very important question type within this set also. So today we'll be discussing the various types of tones that are available in reading comprehension, and let's understand each one of these. So of course tones. Now the question on RC tones will appear something like this. So the tone of the author is best described by what attitude of the author can be inferred from the following sentence. Now, how do you solve the tone question? So, first of all, you understand the nature of the passage. Okay, so that is what you do. First thing, understand what kind of a passage is it. Is it a positively framed passage? Is it a negatively framed passage? Is it a neutral passage? So, that's your first task. Spot the nature of the passage. Once you have spotted the nature, look at your options. So to spot the nature also you have to read the passage, okay? Look at the adjectives, adverbs, descriptions, what kind of descriptions are there. So once you've done this, look at your options and eliminate the ones that just don't work out. So let's say the passage is very negative, so eliminate all the neutral and positive options. And then within the negative ones, then you can start looking at your options and then start checking up. So one, look at the nature, then two, go and eliminate your options, and three, then of course choose the right option for yourself. So that's what you will do. This is how you will solve your tones of the passage, guys. Now there could be three types of passages. So they could be positive, negative, or neutral. Let us look at some possible tones. Optimistic, reverent, respected, respectful, euphemistic, laudatory, nostalgic, commiserating, ethical, apologetic, humorous, satirical, motivating, romantic. These are some possible tones that you will find. Some more: pessimistic, ironic, ridiculous, sarcastic, vitriolic, very full of harsh language, dogmatic, very orthodox, cynical, questioning someone's intention, derisive, insulting, contemptuous, incendiary, inciting, aggressive, acerbic, obsequious, vituperative, caustic, belligerent. All of these are such lovely tones that you will find. Then, of course, you will have some that are very neutral. So, detached is a neutral tone, matter of fact, candid, apathetic, technical, objective. These are some tones that are going to be neutral, guys. So, here are some of the tones that you do find. Do learn these up. You will find many, many more tones also within our classes. Now let's look at a couple of these questions and see if you can match them with the tones. Here are some of the tones: optimistic, bitter, tolerant, sentimental, humorous, objective. And I've got some tones here. The biggest mistake I have made in life is letting people stay longer than they deserve. The biggest mistake I have made in life is letting people stay longer. So now here is the phrase that I'm looking at: biggest mistake in life, letting people stay longer than they deserve. So clearly the writer is not optimistic, he's not positive. This is a negative statement, right? Is he being bitter? Yes, he could be bitter, absolutely. Is he tolerant? No, of course he's not tolerant. It's not a positive statement. He's not sentimental, not positive. He's not humorous, not positive. He's not objective, not positive. This is a negative sentence, so a bitter statement would work. That can be a perfectly good this thing. All right, let's look at the second question also. I'm not the best mother in the world, but I'm not really that bad. So what she's saying or what he's saying is that, hey, I have done the best, so not really that bad. Now this phrase says that the writer is being very tolerant. Okay, so this one is a good one. Look at this. uh, this place, look at the fourth one, this place does need some repairs, but I'm sure the landlord will be making improvements sometime soon. So everything points to the fact that the writer is expecting good things to happen, right? So here the writer now becomes optimistic. Now guys, how are we spotting these tones? We are spotting the tones by looking at the adjectives, we are looking at the adverbs. Okay, anything that is descriptive in nature is the one that is telling you that, hey, this is something that you need to pay attention to. So all the descriptive phrases are the ones that will help you. So when you look at your sentences, look at the descriptives. Look at this third one: if only you had helped me when I had asked, I wouldn't be reduced to this. This is probably something really bad. So now here also apparently the writer is very upset, and therefore bitter can be a tone for this statement also. If only you had helped me when I had asked, I wouldn't be reduced to this terrible situation, right? So the writer could be bitter. So guys, whenever you're looking at the tones of a statement, read the statement, look at whether it is whether the passage is positive, negative, neutral. Okay, look at the kind of words that the writer is using, and then spot your tones. What we will do today is we will take up a few tones and we will try and understand each one. Take a look at this: angry or indignant. When the writer is angry, look at this statement: why don't you let the poor boy go? Don't misbehave with him. So when the writer is angry in a very justified way, he gives you arguments, facts and examples. Okay, he justifies his anger by stating various reasons related to these. So then the tone is angry. Now such passages, guys, they are generally they revolve around biased systems, they revolve around some injustice. So whenever some injustice, some bias, some prejudice is being talked about, remember, angry or indignant could be a very beautiful tone for such a passage. Remember this. This is a very good help. So when you read a passage and it is talking about everything that is happening to a certain caste of people, then the tone could be angry or indignant. Pay attention to that. Apologetic. So apologetic, of course, you will express remorse or guilt regarding the mishaps or tragedies that may have occurred in the past. So generally this kind of passage will talk of wrongs done in the past. Okay, so what are we talking of? We are talking of wrongs done in the past. That, hey, I'm sorry we did this to you, and now we are apologizing. So when you read a passage and it talks about some sort of wrongs that have been done in the past, remember the tone could be very, very apologetic. Such a passage may include a lot of past facts, figures, talks about world wars, disasters, catastrophes. Okay, something that has happened. See, I feel bad that I had wronged you and also misjudged you. So everything that has happened in the past, you are now apologizing for that. So then the tone could be apologetic. Belligerent or bellicose. Now, when you are aggressively talking to each other, you are hostile to each other, you are warring with each other, then the tone becomes belligerent or bellicose. So when in the 80s or the 90s, when the US wrote to the USSR, the tone was belligerent or bellicose. In fact, till last year, when Donald Trump was writing out any statement towards, let's say, North Korea, the tone was very, very belligerent or bellicose. Okay, it was always, I will see you, we will, blast your this thing. So then in that case, the tone becomes very, very belligerent. When you're generally throwing out a challenge, okay, or when it is a show of strength or power, then in that case, guys, generally the tone is very belligerent or bellicose. The tone could be acerbic, harsh, severe, bitter, caustic, or vitriolic, depending on if you want to express your dislike or disapproval for something, and you're doing that in a very harsh manner. Then the tone becomes very acerbic, very harsh, very severe, very bitter, very caustic, very vitriolic. So the writer will reveal his disagreement with a particular theory or his disdain towards a certain person. In that case, the tone will be very acerbic, harsh, severe, bitter, caustic, or vitriolic. Look at this. The steps taken by India are not enough. How would clapping or banging plates help fight corona? The writer is saying that I don't think this is right. Okay, he is complaining that this is wrong. This should not be done. In that case, your tone becomes any of these. Okay, they are all parallel tones. You may just find them working similarly. Biased, like I said, when you favor something over another, so when the tone is very biased or prejudiced, you favor something or you disfavor something. In both cases, the tone is going to be biased, right? So when you read the passage and you understand that the writer is taking a stand in favor of one or in favor of the other, then the tone is going to be biased or prejudiced. Okay, so those are going to be the tones. All right, commiserating. Now, again, when you want to express grief or sympathy for a person or a group of people that are suffering from prejudiced practices or cultural norms, okay, when the writer wants to familiarize the reader with trauma undergone by the sufferers, that's when the tone becomes commiserating or sympathizing. Okay, sympathy is also a parallel tone here. So do remember, look at this. I feel bad for the victims of the Holocaust. Reading Anne Frank's diary just reinforced my belief that the worst crime against humanity was perpetrated by Hitler. So now here is your tone of the passage, very beautiful. So whenever the writer wants to tell you about some trauma that someone has gone through in the past and wants you to express sympathy, okay, so that's when the tone will be commiserating or sympathy. Condescending or patronizing. Now, in this case, oh, this is incorrect. I don't know how I've got this. Okay, so in this case, when the writer wants to show that he is superior, okay, has greater knowledge of the topic or of the issues than you do, okay, and wants to showcase your inferiority, okay, the reader's inferiority, okay, that's when the tone is going to be condescending or patronizing. So when the writer wants to say that I am superior, I know more than you do, the reader knows less, that's when the tone becomes condescending or patronizing. Contemptuous, disparaging, or derisive. Now, the writer's disdain or contempt towards the subject is shown. The writer will show something in a scornful or ridiculous way. So, when the writer again now shows that the reader is beneath him, the topic is something not worth considering, okay, not worth respect. So that is when the tone will be contemptuous or derisive or disparaging. Cynical. Now, the tone is when are you being cynical? When you find someone distrustful, when you question someone's intention. Generally, the author in this case views the society as being driven by pure self-interest. So, when the writer questions the interest of someone or something, then he is being cynical or he is being skeptical or he is being doubtful. So any of these will work, yeah, when you are saying cynical, skeptical, or doubtful. Okay. So look at this. Anyone who comes bearing gifts is surely going to ask for something in exchange. How skeptical or how cynical is that? Dogmatic. Now, dogmatic essentially means that you have a firm belief in something and you're not going to budge from your belief. Now, the belief could be anything. It could be good, it could be bad, anything. But when the writer very clearly asserts his belief, okay, he says, hey, this is how it is, okay, then it is a very dogmatic tone. So, when you have some firm beliefs or perspectives regarding particular aspects of life, so that's where the dogmatic tone happens. Look at this. All men are wild creatures who look for their own benefits and for no one else's. So now the writer is saying that a man is a particular way and will not be any other way. And the writer leaves no space for, uh, you know, uh, a possibility that something else could exist. So that's when he or she is being very dogmatic. You can also call this orthodox, okay, or narrow minded. Any of these could work as a tone. All right, emotional, sentimental. Let me write sentimental, emotional, maudlin. All of these are when somebody becomes very sentimental or emotional. Now, while narrating an incident or an event or story, the writer uses an emotional tone of writing to portray the feelings regarding the same. Okay, so in that case, when the writer wants to focus on some emotion, some sentiment, becomes very maudlin, that's when the tone becomes emotional. Now this is a very heart rending suicide note by Rohit Vemula. So he said, I would not be around when you read this letter. Don't get angry on me. I know some of you truly cared, loved me and treated me. I have no complaints on anyone. So here is, I feel a growing gap between my soul and my body and I've become a monster. So he's talking about this. And then he says, this is the only letter that I'm going to write. So this is a very emotional note written by someone who was planning to commit a suicide. Ethical, of course. When you talk of ethics, now this type of passages also feature in CAT a lot. Now they talk of an ethical tone. They discuss issues of right or wrong, morality, righteousness, honesty. Now take a look at this. The question is not whether Gogoi wanted a nomination to Rajya Sabha. The question is whether he got it as a quid pro quo. So when you are depicting issues of morality, righteousness, correctness, okay, so that's when the ethical tone comes in. Euphemistic. Now, when you want to express your dislike or disagreement without being offensive or blunt, that's the tone, that is when euphemistic tone will come to your rescue. So you want to say that something is really ghastly, but you say, hey, it's okay. So look at this. So your friend buys a shirt and says, hey, do you think it's looking good? And you find it so disgusting. So you say, hey, this shirt is not all that bad. Maybe you should change it for another color. So now you have said that, hey, this is not really all that good. Okay, so don't wear it. That's euphemistic. Grandiose. Now, when you want to write something in a descriptive or abstract style, you want to become very elaborate about whatever you're talking. Then in that case, the tone that you use is the grandiose tone of writing. Look at this. The voluptuous rhetorical verbosity of my esteemed competitor has engaged the imagination of millions of fans worldwide. My God, look at the words. Voluptuous rhetorical verbosity of my esteemed competitor has engaged the imagination of millions of fans worldwide. What we just wanted to say was my competitor has a lot of fans. Just that. Okay, so very grandiose when you are using a lot of big words. Humanistic. Now this tone of writing will generally be good for welfare, values, human affairs. When you're saying that, hey, this is something concerned about people, look at this statement. Social distancing would help us all. So please make sure your maids also stay at home. Offer to pay them advance salaries so they don't find these times difficult. Now someone is being very humane, very kind, very gentle, very generous. That's when you're talking about human welfare, guys. Now that's the key here. When you're talking of the welfare of someone, maybe human, maybe animal, any sort of welfare, that's when the tone becomes humanistic. Okay. Humorous, of course, it is funny. So humorous tone is witty, amusing. Okay, whatever is being conveyed is conveyed in a very light-hearted manner. So then the tone becomes humorous. For example, all the passengers are seated on a plane on the tarmac, and the stewardess announces, "We're just waiting for the pilot." So two men dressed as pilot walk towards the plane. They're using a guide dog, and they're just walking. They appear to be blind. So the pilots sit into the plane. They taxi. Now the passengers, they look at the runway and they're at the end of the runway. Everyone starts shouting. The plane lifts off. And in the cockpit, the pilot turns to the co-pilot and says, "Hey, if these people didn't start shouting, we would be in a crash." So that's what. So essentially, that the pilot. So this is humorous, of course. Introspective. Now, whenever the writer is analyzing someone's feeling, contemplating his own action, that's when the introspective tone is employed. So it is essentially what? You are self-examining, you are reflecting on one's actions and feelings. So it could be introspective, it could be reflective. Let me correctly write it. It could be reflective also. That means you are thinking, you are thoughtful. Ponderous is also a correct tone in that case. In this case, the writer, whatever he's saying, is all about self-examination. Look at this. The only way I will be able to find any solution to my problems is by working through my feelings for my parents, especially my mother. So he's trying to understand what his feelings are and how he's going to be understanding all of that. Incendiary or provocative. Now there are speeches. There are a lot of speeches by great orators who move you or who soul stir you. That's the incendiary tone. Okay, they are trying to incite you. They're trying to create a revolution. So revolutionaries and politicians will generally do this. Okay, pay attention to this. Incendiary tone is generally meant to incite people in a negative or positive direction. Now, I don't know if you have heard Mark Antony's speech in which he says, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." This speech, my dear friends, is the one that convinces all the Romans that Brutus, Cassius, and all the others have done something wrong in killing Caesar. Okay, so this, of course, was made to change the people's mind about what had happened. So whenever you want to change someone's mind and you want to change their thought process and you want them to say, "Hey, this is something different. We've been thinking something incorrect," that's when the speech becomes incendiary, provocative. Also, this kind of a speech has to provoke you into some sort of an action also, at least into taking sides. So incendiary or provocative in that sense. Laudatory, of course, guys. So when you want to praise someone, you admire someone, that's when the laudatory tone happens. Descriptive passages sometimes have this tone when they are discussing a passage along with justifications for it. Look at this. The swift action taken by the government will make sure that the coronavirus does not spread in this nation of 130 million. Swift action taken by the government. So that's a laudatory tone. We are right away saying that the government has done something good. Okay, so that's laudatory. You could have also used praise. You could have used extolling. Those could also work as tones. Oh, here is a beautiful example. The Nobel Prize for Chemistry this year is a tribute to the power of evolution. The laureates harnessed evolution and used it in the laboratory with amazing results. Now here you have the rest of the speech is very full of praise also. The prizes reaffirm the importance of the concept of evolution in our understanding of life as among the most profound of forces we are exposed to. Very straight, very beautifully praising these chemists. Laudatory praise. Example hai ye. Motivating and inspiring. This kind of a tone, motivating tone again, will make you want to do something. There will be influential quotes, examples of such people. It may just present some examples of popular personalities and incidents from their lives. Look at how Bill Gates has used his foundation to improve the lot of millions of Africans by providing medicine, water, and education. The writer is giving you an example of Bill Gates, how he has used the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to help people across the world. Now, the minute the writer wants to show you someone as an example, that's your motivating or inspiring tone. Pedestrian, very commonplace, uninteresting, very boring. Okay, not interesting, not complex, just normal things. That's pedestrian. The toast was lukewarm, the tree watery, the sugar missing as usual. There was every day, every indication that today would prove to be another dreary day in our lives. This is a very common day in our lives. Very common life, very common day. Okay. Populist. When you want to talk about theories and characteristics that are exhibited by the general population, when things are talked about of the common people, the tone is populist. The Americans are enterprising people, always enthusiastic about work and love to celebrate their freedom and happiness. We're talking of what the people are, Americans are in general like. So that's the populist tone. Romantic. Now, this romantic is not girlfriend boyfriend romance, guys. Here is when you use good language, fanciful language, exaggerated writing. Okay, so it appears interesting to read but contains unrealistic content. So generally abstract RC passages have something like this. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighborhood, this truth is so well fixed in the minds of the surrounding families that he is considered the rightful property of someone or other of their daughters. So, such a lovely statement from one of my favorite books, The Pride and Prejudice, written by Jane Austen. Very romantic. And mind you, this is not romance of the boy girl type, this is the romance of words. When you use a very fanciful, exaggerated tone, something as simple as a new neighbor arouses the interest of all the girls in the area. And we have said it in such a lot of words. So, that's the romantic tone. Sarcastic, satirical, ironical, taunting, of course. His dead body is worth more than my entire property. Funny how the gun collector was murdered by a knife. When you express your dislike indirectly and without sounding too serious, that's the sarcastic, satirical, ironical, or taunting tone. So when you state a negative opinion about something in a very funny, taunting, ironic way, you use the sarcastic tone. Okay, so these sarcastic, satirical, ironical, taunting, all of these are tones that you use when you're trying to make fun of something. You dislike it, you don't want to say that you really dislike it, but you do want to put it out, you use humor. Okay, so then it becomes sarcastic. Speculative. When you're talking of speculation, speculation is when you're expecting something to happen or not happen. So passages that explain any theories, any such theories, they adopt a speculative tone. So they revolve around hypothetical things and expert opinions. Will the stock market go up or not? I don't know if you watch all of these days as the Olympics are going on. So a lot of events and discussions happen. Will India win this? Will they win that? Who is going to be better at which sport? And there are lots of opinions that are going around. All those are very speculative in nature. Okay, so that's the speculative tone. Okay, technical, guys. Now this is a very neutral tone. In the technical passage, you use a lot of jargons. You use the core ideas of a particular field of study. So a lot of facts, figures, etc. are given. So when you are being very specific, you give the language that is specific to a particular subject. Okay, that's when you're being technical. For example, the per capita income of Vietnam is $45 and the GNP is less than 1/8 the GNP of. So now you need to know what is GNP. You need to know what is per capita income. If you don't know, then you really don't know what this passage is talking about. So an economist would be, at ease with this, while a geologist may not be at ease with this at all, right? The geologist will be at ease with something that talks of the geology of the earth. So therefore, all right, guys. So to reiterate, I will just say that when you are looking at the tone of a passage, read the words, look at the adjectives, look at the adverbs, understand what the connotation of a particular word is. The choice of words, that's the most important thing. Also, the style of writing, whether the passage is a narrative one, whether it is a descriptive one, these things are very, very important. Also, understand the structure and the organization of the ideas, how the writer has put the ideas in a particular passage. All of these will help you to spot the correct tone. So when you are asked to identify the tone of a particular passage, pay attention to all of these tiny things and they will really, really help you. Alright guys, I will stop now. I will come back to you in another session. We will discuss RC structures and sources. Where all can you find a particular article from? We will talk a little bit about that. Thank you so much. Here is to a lot of reading comprehension, cracking it for Maharashtra CET. Thank you so much. Guys, remember to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and also to use AbhiCat Live to unlock all the free courses on our Plus Learners app, and also to subscribe to our Plus and Iconic courses. Thank you. Have a nice day.